Hello and welcome to VNA News Daily Bulletin. I'm Bảo Trung from Hanoi, and coming up next we have your top stories.
World Bank President Yim Kim visits Vietnam. Vietnam's export turnover reaches $17 billion. National Tourism Year 2016 kicks off in Kiên Giang Province.
On February 23rd, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng received World Bank President Yim Kim, who is on a working visit to Vietnam.
The Vietnamese party leader affirmed Vietnam will continue to accelerate its renewal process comprehensively and synchronously to soon turn Vietnam into a modernity-oriented industrialized country. He asked the World Bank to continue its support to Vietnam, helping Vietnam to successfully implement its set socio-economic development goals as well as development orientations in the Vietnam 2035 report. The party chief also hoped that the World Bank will continue to help Vietnam cope with challenges during the development process. The World Bank president spoke highly of Vietnam's achievements in stabilizing the macroeconomy and socio-economic development. He affirmed the World Bank will continue to provide necessary assistance to help Vietnam accelerate economic reform, stabilize the macroeconomy, adapt climate change, and successfully implement goals set by the 12th National Party Congress.
The same day, President Trương Tấn Sang also hosted a reception for the World Bank leader.
President Sang thanked the World Bank for its assistance to Vietnam over the past time and expressed his hope that the bank would continue to accompany Vietnam in its development process. The state president stressed that the World Bank has not only provided Vietnam with financial support, but also helped the country in mapping out policies. President Sang took this occasion to request the World Bank to give timely advices and support to the country during the implementation of the Vietnam 2035 report. For his part, World Bank President Yim Kim said the World Bank will seek preferential resources to help Vietnam deal with difficulties in socio-economic development.
Also on February 23rd, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng welcomed World Bank President Yim Kim.
Prime Minister Dũng affirmed Vietnam appreciates the World Bank for its assistance cooperation during Vietnam's development process, especially in poverty reduction and sustainable development. The government leader expressed his hope that Vietnam would continue receiving World Bank support in resources, policy consultation, technical assistance, and the implementation of sustainable development goals. He also spoke highly of the cooperation between Vietnam and World Bank agencies in preparing the Vietnam 2035 report. For his part, President Yim Kim affirmed the World Bank will always stand side by side, cooperate, and support Vietnam in its process to implement the development goals as well as those set in the report. It will also help Vietnam access long-term low-interest rate loans to develop renewable energy and implement health development goals.
The same day, World Bank President Yim Kim attended a ceremony to publish the Vietnam 2035 report themed Toward Prosperity, Creativity, Equity and Democracy.
The 2035 report suggests that Vietnam foster the private sector's competitiveness, promote social inclusion, and bolster the state's effectiveness to climb up the economic ladder into a higher bracket. The report warned that without this, Vietnam will find it very difficult to avoid the middle income trap and will fall well short of its significant potentials. The report was produced by a joint team from the Ministry of Planning and Investment, the World Bank Group, and external experts from Vietnam. The agreement to work on the joint report was made in Hanoi between Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng and President Yim Kim in July 2014.
The second meeting of the trade ministers of the community of Portuguese-speaking countries took place in Dili, the capital city of Timor-Leste, on February 23rd.
One of the main themes of the meeting is the preparation of a concept of strategic and conceptual action for development of trade and investment in these countries. The meeting is part of Timor-Leste's efforts to foster trade relations between member countries when it holds the community's presidency. Also high on the agenda is greater internationalization of the community's companies, and in the case of Timor-Leste, making the country a bridge for Asia and Pacific markets. The Community and Portuguese-speaking countries is a multilateral forum created to deepen mutual friendship and cooperation among its member states. The community includes 9 members, namely Angola, Brazil, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Portugal, São Tomé and Príncipe, Timor-Leste, and Equatorial Guinea. The community is growing from a cultural background to a geopolitical and economical community, as it is the 4th largest producer of oil in the world.
Vietnam raked in $17 billion from exports since the beginning of this year until mid-February, down $3.75 billion from the same period last year.
According to the General Department of Customs, 4 groups of exports saw turnover exceed $1 billion each, of which mobile and components took the lead with $3.03 billion. They were followed by garments and textiles with some $2.56 billion, computers, electronic products and components over $1.63 billion, and footwear over $1.45 billion. The group of machinery, equipment and accessories failed to enter the club of billion-dollar earners in the period when it brought home only $896 million. Notably, export values of all the 4 staples also suffered decreases compared to the corresponding period last year, which dropped $1.64 billion in total.
The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City showed a slight increase in February due to the high demand for goods during the traditional New Year holidays. More details coming up next.
The Hanoi Statistics Office reported that the city's CPI in February rose by 0.47% against the previous month, the highest since September 2014, and 1.73% year-on-year. This month, the city saw the highest growth in prices at 2.45% from restaurant and catering services. The group of housing, electricity, tap water, fuel and building material, and the group of transportation services showed a reduction in prices compared with the previous month due to lower fuel and gas prices. In February, the price of gold surged by 2.08%, when the price of US dollar dropped 0.65% as compared with January. Meanwhile, this month's CPI in Ho Chi Minh City showed a slight increase of 0.05% of the previous month and 0.72% year-on-year because 7 goods items showed an increase in prices. This included the group of restaurant and catering services, which rose 1.25%, food up 1.55%, and the group of beverages and tobacco, which was up by 0.79%. The office said the group of housing, electricity, tap water, and fuel, along with building material, dropped by 0.05% against the previous month, as there was lower demand for building materials and a drop in fuel prices. The prices of transport group also dropped steeply at 4.52% due to the huge plunge in petrol and oil prices.
The 2016 National Tourism Year has been launched in the Mekong Delta province of Kiên Giang under the theme Discovering the Southern Land. More details coming up next.
Addressing the event, Deputy Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism Huỳnh Vĩnh Ai said the year is expected to help the country promote tourism products among international friends. On the occasion, the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism granted a certificate recognizing the U Minh Thượng National Park in Kiên Giang province as a wetland of international importance on Seo Ramsar site. With 12 provinces and one centrally run city, the Mekong Delta is the country's biggest producer of rice and fruit. Kiên Giang is home to many popular tourist sites such as the U Minh Thượng National Park, the giant Buddha Pagoda, and Phu Quoc Island. The 2017 National Tourism Year will be hosted by the Northern Mountainous Province of Lào Cai.
The Ministry of Information and Communication has presented a series of documentary films about late President Ho Chi Minh to the Ho Chi Minh Museum. More in the following report.
The films were produced by the Center for Press and International Communication Cooperation in accordance with the party and state's policy on foreign affairs and in response to the campaign studying and following the moral example of Ho Chi Minh. These films include Uncle Ho's footprints on the party's revolutionary path, The Resemblances, Uncle Ho with compatriots in the Central Highlands, Uncle Ho, where he read the Declaration of Independence, and Uncle Ho in the Hearts of Soldiers. The movies will be screened at the Ho Chi Minh Museum, aiming to promote the late president's moral example to both domestic and foreign visitors.
Winners of the 7th leg of Clipper Race, Da Nang New Discovery of Asia Race, have been crowned at a prize-giving ceremony in the central coastal city of Da Nang.
The London Dairy team won the Clipper Race leg into Vietnam. The Garmin was the first runner-up, while the third prize was given to Great Britain. In addition to popularizing Vietnamese culture and people, the race aims to help enhance the country's connectivity and interaction with foreign nations. As the world's longest ocean race, the 40,000 nautical mile Clipper Race is one of the most competitive and challenging sport activities in the world. Since 1996, the Clipper Race sailors have visited 55 different stops all over the world, but now it is the first time they have visited Vietnam and docked at Da Nang City. It will leave the city on February 27 to continue its journey.
Russian students have participated in a recent contest on Vietnam, its people and culture in Moscow. Our reporters will bring more details.
The students are learning Vietnamese at the Institute of Practical Oriental Studies, the Russian State University of Humanities, and the Moscow State Institute of International Relations. Russian teachers of Vietnamese, representatives from the Vietnamese embassy in Russia, and Vietnamese students pursuing education in the European country attended the event. The contest offered an opportunity for Russian students to explore the Southeast Asian nations' customs and culture. The highlight is that they must answer questions in Vietnamese. The activity aims to help Russian students improve their Vietnamese language skills, understand more about Vietnam, and tighten the friendship between the two countries.
Concert Kiep Bak Spring Festival commenced in the Red River Delta province of Hải Dương on February 23rd. Join us to take a look.
The annual festival commemorates the death anniversary of monk Huyền Quang, who died in 1334 and was the founder of the Trúc Lâm Zen sect. Also on the occasion, Vice President Nguyễn Thị Doan handed over the Prime Minister's decision to recognize Thanh Hư Động stele at Côn Sơn Pagoda as a national treasure. Prior to the opening ceremony of the festival, there was a ceremonial water-carrying parade staged by hundreds of people from Côn Sơn Pagoda to Côn Sơn Lake, where monks and nuns offered incense and released birds. The same day, Kinh Dương Vương Festival kicked off in Thuận Thành District, Northern Bắc Ninh Province. At the opening ceremony, the Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism and Thuận Thành District received versions of Nguyễn Dynasty woodblocks for display at Kinh Dương Vương Temple. During the course of the festival, an array of cultural and sport activities as well as folk games were organized, drawing large crowds of locals and visitors.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.